Good afternoon. So this is an important topic, corporate incubator linkages. When we look at, there are several factors that impact the performance of startups in the incubation environment. Startups, as they grow in their product development to market launch journey, one of the important missing links is the validation support to enter into the market. Once the product is validated, subsequently it also be nurtured further to get launched and also commercialize the technologies. And so these requires some focused efforts both from the incubators and also the startups to get launched as soon as possible. So in this process, the expectation from startups through incubators for getting into the market, one is validation support, the pilot production support. Eventually, if this could also translate into long-term business relations with the corporates, so this is an important aspect. So the other aspect is nowadays we see lots of interest from corporate firms to get engaged with startups, either through open innovation or in terms of wanting to have early access to the technological developments happening in the startup arena. So this is another thread which needs quite nurturing and attention. And so there are interesting cases, even in Palo Alto Research Center, hundreds of technologies were lying in the shelf, which eventually companies like Microsoft, HP, Cisco, all had those technologies to unravel into real-time products and services in the market. But the combined valuation of these efforts, it even exceeded even the Xerox's the commercial outcomes. So in this context, this session gains important significance. So we have three interesting panelists. One, we have Ashish Garde, who's managing the incubator at Magic, which is promoted by the industry association itself, Marathwada Chamber of Commerce and Industries. We also have with us Mr. Sachin, who is from ICICI, and Dr. Jayabharat Reddy from Thermo Fisher. Each of them are going to give different perspectives. One is from the life science industry itself. So we would like to understand what Thermo Fisher is undertaking in terms of engaging with the startups. So the other one is from the funding side. So banks shown a lot of interest to engage with startups and incubators. We have seen several banks coming forward and coming up with startup-specific products in the market, and also even to identify and nurture innovations in the fintech space so that their technological needs also are addressed. And Ashish, of course, he will have dual role. One side managing an industry association, the other side also connecting the startups with those industries for market access. So this is the backdrop with which we are going to discuss next 20-25 minutes. So may I start with Mr. Sachin? I know ICICI had been a pioneer in this space. Even way back in 2010, they had a Trinity program where the bank went to the campuses to identify some early innovations. And so would you like to elaborate on the current happenings in ICICI towards startup nurturing?
Thanks for inviting me here, ISBA, for this panel discussion. Yes, I think banks have come a long way as far as startup is concerned, because for a very long time, the banks were a little hesitant in getting into the startup space because of the fact that we saw startup space as little, little on the risky side. So therefore, banks were a little hesitant over there. But then again, of late, we have been seeing a lot of banks coming up and trying to provide different type of solutions to the challenges what startups are facing. So on the similar lines, ICICI have also been trying to ensure that we get into this space in a more relevant manner. So before COVID, we started this journey wherein We tried understanding the trend in the startup space. We went around the incubators in the different parts of the country. We went to T-Hub as well in Hyderabad, and we tried to understand that maybe what are the genuine challenges what incubators and startups are facing. And therefore, we came out with a lot of policy changes, a lot of new products which are more suitable for the startups. So therefore, the products and solutions were always there for the business, business establishments. But we have to make it more suitable, more friendly for the startups. Like for example, if we go ahead and open an account, then established business needs to maintain some balances and other things here, but we waived off for the starters. We understood that probably in the initial days, it would be a little heavy for them to maintain some balances, so therefore we waived off. And likewise, there were a lot of many other policy level changes which we made. Now, on the liability side, on the account side, transaction side, these were done. But the major problem was funding, as you rightly said. So funding, we categorized into two parts, the debt funding and equity funding. Debt funding, we started looking at the starters from a different lens. And we started putting aside a pool of money so that bank at a different levels can take some exposure into the startup, knowing that we are getting into a little risky space. But we decided consciously that to a particular extent, we can take that risk. On the equity side, a very, very interesting thing happened. We decided two things. Number one, we decided to take a direct equity exposure into many of the startups, primarily into the fintech space, because that's one thing we understand thoroughly. So we started scouting for these startups wherein we can groom them, we can ensure that they become successful and invest direct funds into them, taking some equity over there. Also, we started a program wherein we opened up our relationships with the investors, family offices, HNI clients. We sit with the startups, we design a product deck, and then we take it to our set of investors and HNI family offices where we have the relationship, and we patch both of them. So therefore, startup will get that window to present what they have built up directly to the investor through the bank, and and the deal can go through over there. So that's really what we have been doing in last few years.
Yeah, Sachin, one follow-up question. So you mentioned about funding and access to funds through various products focusing on startups, including family offices, HNI. But in addition to that, do you also provide opportunities for fintech startups to have some sandbox kind of arrangement for validation? Would you like to elaborate on that?
So definitely. So what we have done is that we have started a accelerator program of our own, which is located in BKC in Mumbai. So what really we do is that we have our own problem statements. As a large bank, large number of teams, verticals, everybody will have their own problem statements. So what we do, we collate those problem statements, and then we scout in the marketplace to understand that which all startups can come close to solving those problems. And wherever we find that any startup is, have that ability and that idea to solve that problem, we pick it up. And then we accelerate and incubate that startup into our acceleration program in Mumbai and see that how it goes. So a lot of startups in last 5 years have come out successful from there. Not only they provide their services to ICICI Bank, but all other banks in general, because the validation is already there. So that's what we really do.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Jayabharth Reddy, so from Thermo Fisher, I know it's a life sciences company predominantly into instrumentation. And so what are the ways with which the startups engage? I know institutions engage with you as customers, research labs buy equipment, and startups, when they grow, raise funds, they set up their laboratories. But beyond that, do you have some avenues for some early access with the startups?
Good afternoon, everyone. I know this is post-lunch session. So very nice way you have articulated. So Thermo Fisher Scientific, most of the people may be knowing already as an supplier of instruments, technology, solutions. So however, if you look at it from a different perspective, startup, we can start with the journey of the startup and we can work with them until they grow up also. So one of the ways how we collaborate with the startup ecosystem, like acceleration program. So we have facilities within the country. In fact, within Hyderabad, we have an India Engineering Center, wherein we have all the world-class technologies available and accessible to the fraternity. In the startups, whoever wanted to work, they can actually come and collaborate with our technical experts. We harbor about 4,500 talented team. So most of them working in R&D space. So we have an antibody development center in Bangalore. So where we also have manufacturing hub. So for example, just to give the perspective of the scale, when the COVID has come into the country, so when we were struggling to have access to the real-time PCRs and extraction systems, etc. So Thermo Fisher Scientific collaborated with ICMR, NIV, as well as Serum Institute, Bharat Biotech. So it is not in terms of technology partnerships. We also have given access to global technical know-how, and our scientists have worked day in and day out, as well as we have also scaled up our manufacturing facilities to provide the solution when it is needed. So when it comes to how it will be helpful in a startup environment is, when you look at companies like Thermo Fisher Scientific in the life science industry, you know that the breadth of portfolio today, Dr. Jayesh Ranjan is also covering. So we have multiple verticals, multiple divisions, multiple products. The breadth of the portfolio, you can count on Thermo Fisher Scientific. However, when you look at a startup, so you have an idea, you have an incubator, you have access to this, and now you have got an ecosystem also to support you. All of that can actually be accessed through a grown-up company like ours. So when you have an idea, when you wanted to access the technology, so we have invested in more than 5 bio startups in the country, bio incubators in the country. So in terms of providing newer technologies, it could be cell analysis, it could be flow cytometry, it could be molecular biology, it could be protein biology. We worked with, including AIC CCMB is one such example. We worked with them at a very foundational level and asked what kind of technologies people would like to get access to. So that gives, when you need the most, when you can't access or buy these technologies, you can access these technologies within your doorstep. And second, we talk about upskilling. One of the gray zones in our education ecosystem is some of the universities, colleges doesn't have an access to these technologies. So we keep an open door policy and we encourage and we conduct training programs of our own, as well as with the help of people like Dr. Ramji, we conduct training programs in the incubators so that people can get upskilling. They can get access to the new technologies as well as train on their own systems, get a hands-on experience. In life science, though there was a joke by Dr. Jayesh Ranjan in the IT is different and biotechnology is different. So here you need the technology, access, high level of investment, and also partnerships from stalwarts in the industry. So that is second aspect. We give access when we upskill the people. And we don't maintain only the vendor customer relationships. So as you know, when we have a breadth of portfolio in life science, for example, you come up with a product, you come up with a solution. So you will be requiring a space to sell your product, market your product. So some of our websites are so powerful, it will be catering to so many customers. If it is a life science product, we welcome you to associate with us. Not just as a Thermo Fisher Scientific will be buying that innovation, we can even give our Fisher website to promote your product. Of course, there is a team, innovation team working behind, they will collaborate with you. And people like us, you can bet on us for commercialization. We spent more than 2 decades in commercializing. So how to market your product, where to market your product, which segment, how this will be helpful. So as simple as we talk about healthcare. Our mission statement says healthier, safer and cleaner. We wanted to support you. It is not that we wanted to make the world healthier, safer and cleaner. We wanted to work with scientists to make the world healthier, cleaner and safer. So during the COVID period, actually, the vaccines which are produced has some raw material from us or maybe some technology collaboration from us. And most of the diagnostic kits, whatever has come up, whether it is real-time PCR kits, any Indian manufactured, we have supported them with the technology, with the product, as well as we have also helped them build the regulatory confidence, regulatory technical know-how in terms of how to cross those hurdles of regulation, commercialization in the sense marketing, and giving access to more and more customers or in the marketplace.
Yeah, thank you. Ashish, yours is a unique model of an industry association setting up an incubator. And what was the motive of this association to set up this incubator? And as you play a dual role from the association as well as from the incubation, how do you do the bridging, especially to provide market access to the startups that are associated with you?
Yeah, thank you. Basically, Marathwada Accelerator for Growth and Incubation Council, MAGIC, it's a very unique incubation center because the Regional Industry Association has taken the lead for establishing this incubation center in its own premises. Typically, we find most of the incubation centers are hosted in some academic institution. But here, for the first time in the country, a regional industry association taking a lead and establishing the incubation center in its own premises. The journey is very interesting. I have with me my schoolmate Prasad Kokir. Both of us were office bearers, key functionaries of our chamber. I was president and he was honorary secretary at that point of time. And both of us are passionate about innovation and entrepreneurship skilling. So we decided during our tenure we should have some concrete project which is initiated by the chamber and which serves the community. Basically, Marathwada region is relatively backward region in terms of development when we consider overall Maharashtra. There are 8 revenue districts and even today there are hardly any incubation centers, very few of them. So we had in chamber industry and academic institution interaction cell which was active for more than 20 odd years, and we felt the need that we should have a permanent platform, a permanent setup wherein we should have setup like incubation center, and that's how the incubation center came into existence. Thanks to ISBA, because we participated in one of the sessions which was meant for upcoming organizations which wanted to establish an incubation center. So journey of MAGIC started with ISBA. Our team participated in Lonavala. You were one of the facilitator at that point of time. So as a incubation center, basically whatever the key requirements of startups are, we try and fulfill that with the help of member units of the chamber. So we have membership of around 700 members and they are from different domains. So any idea, if we have to validate, we have an in-house domain expert available with us. So right from the stage of idea validation to their commercialization, our incubation center extends end-to-end hand-holding support. Whatever are their infrastructure requirements, whatever are their marketing support requirement, even funding support requirement, our team of board of directors of MAGIC is very passionate. Even before we got any government funding or government recognition, for the first 4 years, our board members contributed all the expenses of the incubation center at their personal level and at their CSR level. So any need of startup is met through the board members and the extended members of the chamber, and chamber supports wherever we need any kind of support for the incubation center.
Yeah, thank you. Sachin, I need your response from your earlier message. You mentioned about HNIs and family offices, and could you just elaborate, of course, briefly, for want of time, in a minute, if you could explain what exactly is happening and how do we incubators can engage on that front with you?
So look at a startup journey right from the beginning. So they are bootstrapped in the beginning, and then they have an idea. Then they decide to put that idea into the practical situation, try to build up the MVP, and then probably they need funds. Once we're done with the bootstrapping, they need funds. Now, funds can be arranged either through a debt or equity. Debt at that point in time is not possible, very unlikely that it will happen because of the fact that number one, it is pre-revenue. Number two, they don't pre-revenue in the sense that they will not be able to service the debt. Secondly, banks will also not come forward to give that debt, and maybe NBFCs can do that to some extent, but certainly not banks. But on the equity side, they may or may not have a lot of connects in the startup ecosystem as far as the investors are concerned, because these are startups which are mostly technical in nature, very, very focused on their products and solutions and technology, and they're doing a great job, but probably networking point of view, they may not have that sort of kind of network for the as far as investors are concerned. So probably there the bank comes into picture, because a large bank like ICICI have a great relationship both in quality and quantity with a lot of investors and PVC firms, with the family offices, HNI clients. So once the MVP is done and they start their journey, they put it out in the market, there is feedback from the market, some revenue started flowing in. That's the ideal time we take them to our set of HNI clients and family offices. So we sit with the founders, we understand thoroughly as to what is the product all about, what is their journey so far, what is the pedigree of the founders, what is the market they are into, what technology, what is the response, what is the feedback, and how much revenue they have been doing. So then we design a product deck, we take it back to our customers who are HNIs and family offices. We sit with them and we present it on behalf of the founders to our customers. At that point in time, there is no contact between the founder and the HNI clients. Once HNI clients or family offices shows interest, then either in many of the cases they are okay to invest even without meeting the founder. In many cases they are not interested because maybe they didn't like the idea at all. In many instances they want to need more details and they want to get in touch with the founder. So we do that. We patch them up, founder and the investor, and from there they can take it forward. Now, what is there for bank in this is, number one, we provide value to our HNI customers because we give them a kind of options to get into a great investment. That's one. Second, we provide value to the founder because if they're able to get through and they get the investment, they can go on a journey. So that's a value for them. And also bank charges a nominal fee, which is 3 to 5%. That's an industry standard. If this deal goes through, if it's a success fee sort of a thing. So that's how the entire thing is structured.
So these relations are centrally managed, or you also have some regional level interactions and facilitation? No?
It is centrally managed because of the fact that not every time you will find an founder and the investor or a family office HNI in the same kind of a city. So therefore and this is good for the founder because a founder or a startup in Hyderabad probably have an idea in place, MVP is out there in the market, revenues are coming in, they want to expand, they want a huge sum of money which is there, and the interest is there with somebody in Delhi or Mumbai. So we take it up, pan India.
Thank you. Dr. Reddy, one quick question from you. You mentioned about upskilling of startups and especially in the life sciences space. So if you could also throw some light on how incubators in the life sciences and biotech can engage with you to get this facilitation.
Thank you for a great question. So basically, in the life science space, we have actually set up 5 in the bio clusters, in the bio incubators, where we invested in put the technology in 5 places. In some places based on the need. Some places we have even put instruments like high content screening, flow cytometers, and in some places we have put the protein and cell analysis instruments, as well as we support them with the reagents. So time to time, those incubators, including AICCCMB, comes up with the training programs. So those training programs are accessible to not only the startups within that incubator, but also in and around. So they'll be keeping it open for all the people to access for the upskilling journey. And also there are certain ideas like faculty development programs also been done through those 5 bioclusters, bioincubators. At the same time, we have our own antibody development center, which is an R&D center. It is a global manufacturing center for antibodies. So there also we conduct time to time technical training programs. So that also can help gain access. And we have acquired a company, PPD, so which is within Hyderabad, which is a clinical trial division that also actually conducts programs by giving access in terms of for an upskilling journey.
Right. Thanks. I think beyond CSR, there are plenty of other opportunities as it comes out of this panel, whether it is funding facilitation from a bank. It's not just the debt, it's also investment facilitation, skilling, and early access to the modern equipment. And as Ashish was mentioning about industry association getting into the incubation so that the market validation and business opportunities are also facilitated. It was an interesting conversation. I think for want of time, I will stop here and thank you all for your contribution in this panel. Thank you.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to my Startup TV.